year 2025, and I would like to take this opportunity to actually hold your hands, motivate you as you get through the months. It's never too late to start something, especially those of you who had New Year resolutions. You might say, well, it's just 3 months till the end of the year. What can I really do? The best time to start was yesterday, but the next best time to start is today. So take advantage of the time that you still have left to start something. My name is Sage Babalola. Welcome once again to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM. It's time for Trends in the Papers, where we look at our dailies, especially what we have on the front covers. We analyze these stories and help you understand all that is written in between the lines. We dig deeper for you and summarize so you don't have to go through the hassle of reading the entire report. And we back this up with analysis, sort of unbundling the complexities of these reports. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, so you can join our live stream and participate via social media. We have a segment of the show called Mainland Focus, so we allow you to contribute. But for the meantime, we're going to have our expert join us this morning. Now, Fuad is not available today. He's airborne. He's coming back. We've missed him so dearly, but we've never had a paucity of experts when it comes to analysis, so which is why Barrister Tʀᴇ Adigba will be joining us for the Morning Express. The next 30 minutes, we'll have conversations about the reports we have on the front pages. We have the Punch, the Guardian, and the Vanguard newspaper. Good morning, Barrister Tʀᴇ. Thank you for being here, sir.
Good morning, Sage.
West, North Central State on high alert. The papers tell us that following the Department of State Service alert on Tuesday that there was a plot by the Islamic State West African province to attack Ondo and Kogi, the state governors has called on residents to remain calm and vigilant, assuring that they have fortified the security system to thwart any attacks. So, Barrister Tʀᴇ, the conversation around this is that why is this information in the public space? Because this was supposed to be some sort of private information that was provided by the Department of State Services to alert the towns that have been listed, especially Ondo and Kogi, seen as they share boundaries. Kogi, for example, shares boundary with 10 states. That this information being public might be counterproductive for whatever security measures they might have in place to thwart this attack that is supposed to be coming. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think there's nothing new here. Our security operatives operate by scare tactics, in the sense that they think that by outing the information, which will basically rattle the general public, that they will prevent the terrorists or bandits from carrying out their action. But they know that bandits and terrorists are not like ordinary human beings who are scared by such a scaremongering. Like we rightly observed, that is not an information for the public. That is an information that the government should capitalize on to ensure that those attacks don't happen, that members of ISWAP are prevented from even going to the places that they promised they were going to attack. Now you have told the public, you are warning them to be careful and to keep observing. What are they going to do? They have no arms to defend themselves. Now look at what is going on. On one hand, you have the security agencies saying, oh, you know what, test and defend themselves. You understand?
Yes.
So this mixed messaging is part of the problem that those in government and to harass those who are opposed to the government. Because the first responsibility of every government is to protect life and property. Every other thing is just an additive. Anything you add to that, because if the people are not alive, if their properties are not protected, then they don't need the other things that we are giving them. Now, how does the government defend more to that point of start defending themselves? So nobody is reassured that the reassurance by the government or the security agents. We have always said it. When those of us in the southwest and part of North Central, because you see, when you talk about attacks for so long, and partly Kogi, so maybe the only state that is new when you're talking about North Central is, so the only thing that will be new is ISWAP coming to the southwest, okay? So there's nothing new about that, but the government must do everything possible. And like you said, these are not the kind of information you throw into the public. The public don't need it because there's nothing they can do about it. What the government needs to do is to reinforce.
All right. Well, they say they've done that they've reinforced, they've done what they can do about the situation, hoping that the attacks doesn't happen. And if it does happen, they're ready to tackle and his tussle with the marketers. Nigeria imports 15 billion liters of petrol despite Dangote refinery output. Now, despite increased refining capacity, Nigeria imported 69% of the 21 billion liters of petrol it consumed between August 2024 and the first 10 days of October. Between August and the first 10 days of October. Figures from the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority show that the total PMS supply for the period stood at 21.68 billion liters, with 6.67 billion liters or 31%, especially after Dangote started supplying the local market. But with stiff competition from marketers, for example, who still insist on importing the commodity for your importation. Even the PIA says it, that as long as you're able to meet your domestic need, there's no reason for you to import. But then it just continues to show that we're not paying attention to domestic supply. Dangote has not been functional for a while, which has led to the increase in the cost of PMS. Barrister Curtis, why is importation a...
Very simple. The marketers want to make profits. When they see you and I, all they think about is profits. Don't forget that for so long, NNPC and their fronts have vagaries of international markets. Oh, the dollar is up. So we can't bring in a liter of petrol at 1,200 and sell to you at 400. Government is subsidizing. They basically were looting. You know, you heard the story of the people who were arrested, investigated, and put on trial for subsidy fraud.
Yeah.
Nothing came out of that. And boom, Dangote came on the scene and disrupted the entire piece. That this problem with Dangote has been going on. Do you understand?
Yes.
Just last 3 weeks, do you know what has happened? NNPC had raised its own price per liter. And this is all they want to achieve. And then they go out there. You remember all the stories about how Dangote refineries, their piggy bank, the fraud and the corruption in that sector, are refining enough for local consumption. But you know what they'll tell you? You don't want to leave Nigeria alone in the hands of Dangote. We left Nigeria in the hands of NNPC and their criminal fronts for years. Nigeria is still existing. Why does the government exist? The government has antitrust laws. And by the way, it wasn't Dangote alone that was granted license to build a refinery. Others were given the licenses, but they chose to import because it was number one. Is to ensure that the Dangote refinery is destabilized and they cannot continue to supply in the full extent, but via importation.
Yes.
So they will throw in the story of Dangote's monopoly. Now, they saw that that wasn't working with Nigerians. They had no traction. So what they are doing now is to go through the route of bank sector. The people under whose watch our 4 refineries were run aground, the people who participated in deceiving Nigerians, private banks, or some of the top government officials. So this is the whole script. You saw how the Nigerians bring about 7%. When this regime came, they say, no, NNPC don't want to invest more than 7%. Of what the vice president said. Certain customers. They want others to bring their money. But I will say this way. Tell me wanting to profit on the back of pork. Forget a third. Using the one imported by NNPC and the petrol from Dangote refinery and concluded attack on an indigenous refinery. The way they killed the 4 refineries, they also want to destroy this one. But you know, it is Nigerians who will suffer. And that
This is still trends in the papers on Mainland. We're still live on Facebook and on YouTube at Mainland 98. State called for the transfer of the burden of proof in election petition from aggrieved candidate process more credible, transparent, and accountable. Now, we have lawmakers, including the Senate President, backing this particular move. The body that conducted the exercise in itself that should prove that the election was actually free and fair. This, they think, would in a way maybe even minimize post-election litigations and allow for us to see free, fair, credible election. What are your thoughts?
That move will be the death knell for INEC, who conducted the election and declared someone the winner. Will not discredited. Were conducted by INEC. And the same INEC has the defense, okay, of candidates who felt aggrieved to INEC. All INEC will simply tell you is to say, look, we have conducted the election hanging. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
INEC is a major party in the conduct. INEC should not be allowed, having declared the result, to be the one to uphold that result. Because INEC will always uphold what they have done. It's like, I'm writing an exam and you're my teacher, right?
Right.
For whatever reason, maybe I had a conflict to me that it is you who will go and defend my result. How does that work? You understand?
I'm with you.
And the result is nullified by the court. INEC should be punished. And have you not heard that someone wrote to INEC wanting to have information about all the works in Nigeria, the vote count and the registered voters?
I think they asked him to pay or something.
Yeah, and what did INEC say? Pay us 1.5 billion naira.
All right.
So that we can give you that information. When they are the tribunal, do you know that sometimes members of the ruling party or those who have been declared winners in their states, right, prevent their opinions from even getting access to INEC? You saw what happened in Rivers State in 2023, where the candidate of the, I think the PDP, the candidate of the APC in the state and the supporters were not allowed to even go to INEC office to submit their petition. And now you want to say INEC should be the one that will determine, that will defend the outcome of election that they conducted.
It has to happen if those who are alleging irregularities struggle to even get evidence that they would use in defending their claim. So what would be a more reasonable alternative to INEC being the one defending the election?
So we have a legal system and we have to strengthen, because the judges themselves, some of them, we have some, let me tell you, we have some judges that are brilliant and they are good, they are courageous, they are bold, they have integrity, okay?
Yes.
But we also have judges that are weak, morally weak, corrupt. And they see their participation in these electoral tribunals as an opportunity to make money. The thing that we have done to ourselves is that when we declare results that are still being called office, the cases are not dispensed with before the swearing ceremony takes place. Once the man is sworn into office, he assumes office and he takes over the resources of the state. So he has a senior lawyer convicted of bribing judges. So what we need to do is to strengthen the judicial system. And you see every day government is stronger arm of government. But the judiciary has a budget that promote them, increase their salaries. But what do you see? In a place like the FCT, you hear the minister tell you, by 2027, there is no... So the CBC is as favor. And again, you must also understand that the judicial system has been infiltrated. Like Justice Alta said, that the moment the Supreme Court declared Peter to be the winner of that election, it became clear. And then they started sending their sisters, their brothers, their daughters, their sons into the judiciary. When the wife of the FCT minister was moved to the Court of Appeal, things that used to happen in this country quiet socialized, unless the party is organized by the state. You don't infiltrate the entire system. And that's why, in this country, if you have a conflict with any politician, if they do things that are not right, if you question their activities, the only thing they tell you, go to court. Because they know the court won't help you. And they are going to be trapped there. They start issue. You know what happens? If you allege that the results were rigged, that you had multiple voting, these are crimes that were committed. Now, the standard of proof is beyond all reasonable doubt. It's not on the basis of probability. The inflation of figures and all of that. It is still the judge who will accept the evidence and attach weight on it to say, I believe that this evidence part is compromised. You will then attach less weight to the evidence before him and say, you failed to prove your case. You remember saying, Yaradua, the beneficiary, said that the election was below global and international standard, the conduct of that election. But he said he will accept whatever the verdict of the court is. But what did the court say? The court said they couldn't find any evidence, or that the petitioners could not bring forward evidence to convince the court that there was rigging. Now, what made progress? Do you understand?
Yes.
But if you happen to double down on the error, and then we are stuck, and I think we will move forward by repeating the same mistakes. Nobody, you don't elect a new set of politicians into offices to repeat the mistakes of the past. They are elected because they promise to do things differently. They are not necessarily because they are connected to one politician or the other. And if we don't punish them when they step out of line, then this situation will persist. INEC cannot resolve the issue. Number two, also, some of them are closet party members sent in there by politicians. I don't know if you remember the story that the former governor of Cross River State told, Donald Duke, about how an INEC state commissioner comes to the state. He comes, where are you staying? Your Excellency, I have no house here. You have not given me anything. What about your car? I don't have anything. Then he calls the chief of staff and he says, oh, this is our friend. He just put things down and he comes back to you. Say, Your Excellency, thank you. I've come to appreciate everything you have done for me. Your Excellency, in the next 1 month, we are going to be recruiting ad hoc staff for elections and for registration of voters. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And I want you to give us some people. Oh, so thank you. He picks up his phone and he calls the party chairman. And the party chairman then calls the ward leader. Please give us members of our party to be ad hoc staff. If you have members of a political party as ad hoc staff, what do you think will be the outcome of that election?
Your guess is as good
So
as
these are things they should be looking at.
Thank you so much. So that we can look at other reports here. Well, the period from 2 years to 18 months for national students to find graduate level job after completing their studies will be reduced to 18 months from the graduate level scholarship or something funded by the government. An adjustment. Barrister Court, is this immigration policies or the tightening of these immigration policies in the long run? What sort of consequences will there be? What will be the ripple effect of this continued tightened immigration policies, especially in the UK?
So, Sage, this is what is happening. You know, the white people are very strategic. They sit down to think and fashion solutions to their problem. You know, when they realized that COVID had created a lot of problem and dysfunction in their economy. Empty homes in the United Kingdom. There were jobs opening. They couldn't find people to fill them. Then come because their schools were also suffering from lack of funding. We will bring them in and they can come with their dependents. One of them will be going to school, paying school fees to the school system, therefore inflating the school system for us. As they are working, they're also going to pay taxes. And so, with one stone, the sub-3 club provide fresh funding for their schools, and then they were able to fill vacancies in grocery stores and other shops. while earning taxes from all these activities, right? You heard that sometime, I think about 2 years ago, that, or last year, that we heard that 30,000 Nigerians traveled with over 56,000 dependents. You go to the UK now, the most difficult thing to find is a house. I have a friend who traveled with his family, a wife and 3 children. He couldn't get any accommodation for a long time. He said he filled form for one house and he lied that he came with 2 children. The day he was supposed to go and inspect and move in, the landlord told him he had checked with the Home Office. He actually had 3 children, strategic goals, and realized that yes, we met the goals, but we have also created some problem in the system. They now had to do a revision to say, even when you have done all this after your studies, you used to have 2 years before to search for a job. Now you have 18 months to bring dependence. So once they achieve those goals, they tweak the system. That's what is going on there. And now they finish, they find jobs. In fact, some of them believe that while they are still there working, they'll be able to pay some of the debts, not knowing that the bills there are so high that they cannot even save any money. So what is going to happen is that they're going to find people who will be stranded in the UK. Some of them will hide themselves from the system and will be there for so long they will have no documents to stay there, but they will be living there and working under the table. Look at what they are doing and then fashion countermeasures to protect our own citizens. What about allowing the citizens who have studied abroad? What about bringing them back specifically? Strategic that once there are job vacancies, all those in power in the Senate, in the House of Reps, ministers, top government functionaries will write names of their children and submit, irrespective of whether they are qualified or not, just because they have access. So this is exactly what is going on.
All right. Well, let's also look at this report. Davido appointed chairman of Osun Sports Trust Fund. We have the Osun State government has announced the appointment of Afrobeat star David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, as commitment to completing the ongoing renovation and rehabilitation of the Osogbo Township Stadium, assuring that the upgraded facility will meet Olympic standards upon completion. Now, this was supposed to be something of an exciting news until Commissioner Adeleke Tunji, chairman, Local Government Service Commission, and then now Adeleke David Davido, head of Sports Trust Fund, and they've started to allege nepotism. That why are you bringing in pretty much all your family members into government? I'm pretty certain that there are other qualified individuals that could as well handle this position. What are your thoughts about these allegations of nepotism, or should it matter if you're related to the person in power if you're able to prove that you can do the job as well?
Well, that is not the video that sang ᴛᴏᴜᴜ as the chairman, just to raise funds.
Right.
You know why? Because he has the capacity. You remember when he tweeted something about 2 bank account, what happened in hours?
It was filled, and he gave the money out.
So, it was filled, and so he has the capacity to raise funds. It's a cash machine. You know, whether with the Gen Z group or with business leaders, or, from looking at it, if he's the only one who is able to do that. I am scanning the horizon in Osun State right now. I don't think anybody can raise more funds than him. Almost his adult life in the US is not bothered about nepotism. You understand?
Yes.
I think that some of these roles, comfortable with his family members governing with him, should not go anything near nepotism, because that's not going to help him in an election. I think that he will listen to the concerns of the people and try to do some adjustments. But I think he fits the bill.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
We have a few minutes to round off this conversation. Let's talk of Nigeria, former president of the Nigeria Bar Association, Olisa Agbiform, particularly the adoption of a new constitution. He's expressed disappointment that the onus of constitutional amendment or the creation of a new constitution has been shifted to the National Assembly, describing this as a dereliction of duty on the part of the president. And that dumping that responsibility solely on the National Assembly is almost looking like a disregard to that process from the courts.
So, Sage, this has been a constant, consistent, ongoing argument about voted by the Nigerian people or those that we have elected or selected in court. Believe that the amendments that we have done to the Constitution so far are not far-reaching. And that every time we've had the opportunity to amend the Constitution, we don't deal with the real issues, the elephants in the room. We just cross the T's and dot the I's. Said all constitutions in the world told their people what they cannot do, right? But the difference between this Constitution and the American Constitution is that the American Constitution is saying to their government to do. Can you see the difference?
Yes.
Why the Nigerian Constitution is saying to the people, the leaders are saying to the people, this is what we want you to do, and this is what you cannot do. The American Constitution is the reverse. It's telling those in government, this is what you can do, and this is what you cannot do. And that is why it started by we the people, not we the people, because the people were not actually involved. Again, that's a different argument that I made somewhere. Because even those who give us that constitution are Nigerians. Do you understand?
Yes.
But the argument is whether they represent sufficient much of that constitution are we even implementing? How much of it? Even if you have the best constitution in Nigeria and you don't have selfless people, people who can live above causes, who can live for causes that are greater than themselves. You are thinking, what about countries that don't have constitution, written constitution that we have, and they are running more efficiently? Because the people understand that greater strength and value come from within. Look, the president of the Dominican Republic, Luis Abinader, his country won, his political party won absolute majority in the country. And so people expected that he would amend the constitution to favor himself and his party. But you know what he has done? Power of his political party. Compare that with the man in Hungary, Viktor Orban, whose Fidesz party, with very small minority, is manipulating the constitution to give his party majority. Can we constitute the hearts of Nigerians to serve their country better?
Yes. All right, that's all we can take this morning on trends in the papers. Barrister Curtis has other commitments. He actually has to go. He spent more time than he was supposed to, but we appreciate his dedication to the amnesty program and the rehabilitation program of repentant terrorists. And experts are warning that reintegrating them without being sure that your rehabilitation process has really settled or your de-radicalization process has really worked, it might pose a greater security risk in the future. We also have Shettima, who's telling journalists that the president is our ally. The vice president says that Nigeria, is committed to protecting and advancing journalism in the country. It's very lovely to know. We also have here exodus of 127,000 nurses threaten Nigeria's healthcare. Experts are warning the brain drain, the mass migration of healthcare workers. The ratio is 1,000 to 1. That's 1,000 patients to one doctor, and we know what that means. And ASU suspends 2-week warning been suspended. Hopefully this means that students can return to school. And finally, we have this report here. Nigeria will not accept any deportation. Land Focus. It's Open Mic Thursday, so you get to choose what to talk about or what not to talk about. And for those of you who couldn't contribute yesterday because of the new caller arrangement that we had, you can very well move your opinion of yesterday's conversation till